Okay. All right, so we're
Hey
live.
everybody. Yep, we're live. Hey guys, we're gonna get started in just a minute. We're gonna go ahead and send out the link to the live stream to everybody real quick. So give us just a minute, and we will start talking about some movies.
Yep. Just make sure you post it in the Film Club group me too. Well, not group me, but Facebook page.
Yeah, Ivan, you think everything is group me?
I use group me so much that everything just kind of becomes accustomed to it. Like ever
Do you
since
really use group me for things?
I do, I actually use it a lot.
I have not used it probably since the last time I used it with you, to be honest.
Yeah, I saw those some of those messages saved by the way, but they're like half of them are deleted. But like the ones I do have are the ones just like mainly for classes.
Really? Yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I'm not in any classes right now, so that's probably why. All right, I'm sharing the link, and it's got a pic. I'm sharing it on Facebook, Ivan, and it's just like a picture of your face, just looking like off in the distance blindly.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny.
Is that my good side?
Oh, definitely, it's got your very sexy side,
That's all that matters.
of course. All right, let's see. So I posted the link. You want to give it till? Let's see. I guess I need to check and see if we have any viewers right now. Okay, 0 viewers. Yeah, so we'll give it a few minutes. We'll give it like 5 minutes.
All right.
So in the meantime, Ivan, how's your week been going?
It's been going good. I got an internship for the summer.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Where at?
It's a company called In Reality. They do software and services, but they're really awesome. They're really nice, and I like them a lot.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. We got 1 viewer. Hell yeah.
Ooh, yeah. It
Oh,
shows
now 0. We dropped
dang.
from 1 viewer to 0 viewers. We were just that unappealing. They came in for like 2 seconds and they're like, "No, we're not watching this. No, that's terrible."
It's like, no, we can't do it. We can't do this. I've been in Della's hair, so we can't. It's not gonna be good.
Yeah, you're not even Ivan Lichtenstein without the gelled hair. You're like just this
Well,
like
I was gonna get a
dude.
haircut today, and then I got back from the gym. My plan was to go after the gym, but I was so tired after the gym. I was just like, Dad, let's just go get one tomorrow.
Yeah,
And
I'm
so
getting
I'm
a
tomorrow.
haircut tomorrow too, so next time that our viewers see us, we will look completely different.
Yeah.
So, okay, hey, we got 2 viewers now. Nice, nice.
Nice.
That might be as high as we get. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, guys, welcome to the Film Pod. We're about to start in a few minutes. Today we're reviewing 3 movies.
Yes,
And
we're
we're doing
reviewing
a
Goodfellas.
Q&A at the end. Ivan, stop revealing every time. You always reveal too early
We'll,
the
we'll,
movies.
we'll review that one first then.
No, that's not even the right order. We're reviewing that one second. So
Okay.
pretend you didn't. No one pretend. Everyone pretend you didn't hear that. Since Ivan can't keep his mouth shut. I'm trying to see. But yeah, guys, if you're watching, leave us some comments, and we will answer your questions for the Q&A at the very end.
Yes, do that.
Yes, do
I like
that.
questions. Do that.
Who doesn't like questions? Actually, I'm gonna get on the live stream. Okay, wait, no, yeah, I can see the comments now. All right, yeah, Don Henderson says hi, LOL. Nice.
Cool.
Say, Don, you can ask us questions for the Q&A. All right, well, Ivan, you want to give it 2 more minutes or so?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, we got 2 viewers, so I mean, I don't even really care how many viewers we get while we're live because I mean, I'm gonna re-upload all the reviews on their own anyway, so it really doesn't matter. But it's good to get at least a couple people watching live, so that way we have like some kind of audience we're talking to. But yeah, not a lot's happening. We're trying to get them views, you know.
Yeah.
Trying to talk about movies. Trying to do this new format. Ivan, I know you and I talked about it. Are you gonna create a theme song for the Film Pod with your guitar? I know we talked about it.
I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't do it. Say anything because I don't want to ruin the surprise.
Oh, so you are working on something.
Did I say I was?
I don't. I don't know. You're being very coy right now. I can't tell. You might
Am
just be
I?
saying that. Oh my god.
Do you hear something about it?
What's that?
Do you hear something about it?
I mean, I don't know, man. I guess. I mean, if I had the music ability and talent of Ivan Lichtenstein, I know I would create a theme song for the show.
I'll just create a rap.
That I will not let you do.
I'll make a reggae song, a gospel song,
A gospel song.
a gospel reggae.
That'd be beautiful. Just create a rock ballad, the film pod. And sorry for anyone who watches this stream again, like later, and they have to sit through the first few minutes of us just saying random crap. I mean, we're just waiting to see when we can get some viewers. I know. When I watch some of my podcasts on YouTube, like after they've already live streamed, you have to sit through like 5-10 minutes of just like the people just sitting around waiting. Because I
I
mean, that's just
know.
what you have to do.
This is what it's like. We have become
Yeah.
that.
But I'd say we've been on here now for about 5-7 minutes now, and we got 2 viewers. And let's entertain those 2 viewers. You know, it doesn't matter if there's 2 viewers or 2 million viewers. What
We have a
matters
little
is that we
song.
entertain. We entertain and educate the people. Well, I don't know about educate, but you know, we're gonna entertain the people.
Inform the masses of two people about
The
movies.
masses, yes, the masses. That's a great term. All right, so let's get started. So,
All
hello
right.
everyone. My name is Jackson Witzel,
And
and
I'm
you
Ivan
are
Lichtenstein.
Ivan Lichtenstein, and you are watching the Film Pod. And today we are starting the very first official new episode of the new format for the Film Pod. So let me
Yeah.
explain that real quick for anyone who doesn't know, because we did explain it in a previous episode, but not everybody saw that. So we're going to talk about it a little bit here real quick, and then we're going to get right into the movies. So used to be Ivan and I would record our episodes of the Film Pod in a studio, and we talk about one movie for like 30 to 45 minutes. Sometimes we go on a little too long, and we talk about a movie, and we'd film it and do the audio, and we'd sync it all up and keep it going. But it was never live. It was always pre-recorded. And that was back when Ivan and I started the show. It was about 2 years ago. We both lived near each other and we're in college. And now we're not living near each other, and our schedules are both crazy, and it's so much easier to just live stream it. So
Yeah.
we're gonna live stream. Okay, I didn't necessarily mention this in full detail last time we did an episode, but essentially we're gonna be doing 2 new episodes a month. One episode will be where Ivan and I have on a guest star, so there'll be a third person on here talking with us. And the guest star, they pick a movie, and the three of us talk about it, and we'll sort of interview the person a little bit, talk to them, talk about if they're like someone who's in the industry, and you know they've got a career that we can interview them out. Like we can definitely talk to them about that type of stuff. And then we'll review one movie in that stream. Then the other stream, which is exactly what this one is today, is just Ivan and I is going to be the regular episodes where it's just Ivan and I. And that's also going to be once a month. And Ivan and I will review 3 movies. Each will be timed. I've got Ivan with a timer today, and we're going to
Yep.
time each review for 15 minutes.
All on my cellular device, by the way.
Yes, his
They Moto
very
Z2
nice.
Play Android. I will not get paid for this advertisement, but yeah, Moto Z2 Play app Android came out this year.
Yeah. The Film Pod is sponsored by Android, but not really. But if they want to sponsor us, they can.
You're welcome to it.
Yeah. So yeah, well, each review is gonna be 15 minutes. I will re-upload the individual reviews later on onto the channel, just split up for anyone who just wants to watch a review of just one of the movies. But yeah, our regular episodes we'll be doing the 3 reviews, and the guest episode, you know, we'll just have a guest on, talk to them, and do, you know, one little review. But for the regular episodes like today, we will have a Q&A at the end. So essentially, usually these episodes are going to go about an hour, maybe a little over an hour. 15 minutes per review. There'll be 3 reviews, like I said. And we'll do a Q&A at the end for, you know, 10, 15 minutes. If we have any questions, we can answer. So, and also the questions can be about anything. I mean, generally we'd like them to be about film, but obviously we might not necessarily have a ton of questions always pouring in. So, I mean, even if it's, ask them what our favorite color is, like we'll do it. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, just no horribly obscene questions because that can get a little uncomfortable,
Yeah.
especially
If
while
we see that,
recording
then
live.
we're not going to answer it. That's the point. We're not going to answer it.
Yeah. So no like questions about fan fictions about me and Ivan because that's weird. Uh,
No, please don't.
keep those to yourself, please. Um, so anyway, let's go ahead and get started. The first movie we're going to be talking about, and I forgot to mention too, each movie is in a different category. The first movie will always be a new release, something that came out in the last month or two. The second film will be like a classic, something that's a little older, not too old, but something that's not recent. And then the last one is going to be garbage or trash, as we like to call it. It's the last category where we just talk about a really crap movie, and we're going to really crap all over it. So,
We are.
so Ivan, you got your timer ready? We're going to go ahead and
Yeah.
start talking about the first movie.
We're going to go right now.
All right, so our first movie is the new release, and it is called Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg.
All
Now,
right.
Ivan, you just saw this today, I believe. So why don't you
Yeah,
start
I
off
saw it
first,
earlier
since you have a
today,
more
so it's
recent
kind of fresh in
opinion?
my mind.
Yeah, so go ahead. Go ahead. Take
So
the
yeah,
floor,
Ready
man.
Player One is a new Steven Spielberg movie based off the book Ready Player One. And so when the trailer came out, I was really excited to see it, not just because of like all the pop culture references, obviously, which are in there. And I was actually researching this. I was thinking like, how did they pay that much money to have like all of these like references in there, pretty much?
Yeah, really.
The thing is, they're all owned by Sony. For a majority of them are owned
Oh,
by Sony.
that makes sense. Okay.
So basically, they could just use that and not like pay anyone or pay any other company to
Yeah,
use it.
Sony doesn't have to pay anybody if it's
And then
their own
another
property.
thing that I had going into it was that Steven Spielberg is making an action sci-fi movie because like Steven Spielberg, like before he became a huge director, that was like his thing. He had his first movie I think was called Duel. Don't quote me on that. I think it's called Duel. But basically, the whole genre of that movie is action. So he started off as an action director, and then as he got more famous, became started to do more of those like war movies, like War Horse, and other like politically um, oriented movies like The Post. But this
Hmm.
one's like he's back at his roots. He's back at his roots making an action movie. And what I think of it, I thought it was really good. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't bad. It was just really good.
Okay. Okay.
I had a lot of fun watching it. It was a really fun movie. What do you think of it?
I did not think it was a really good movie, but I thought it was a pretty good movie. So that's, I mean, close
Yeah,
enough. Um, if you want my overall opinion on it, just sort of summarized, I would say visually this film is really well made.
it
I
is.
mean, I
It's
mean,
a
like the CGI in it is pretty seamless. It's a video game world, so it's a really good setting to have a very CGI driven movie because a lot of times I don't like movies with too much CGI, but this was a great sort of setup for a movie with great CGI. And I saw this movie in 3D, and it's one of the few movies I would actually recommend watching in 3D because it gives
really.
you more of that. Well, yeah, it's about VR, so it's sort of that whole like interactive VR experience. And I would not recommend most movies to be seen in 3D, but that movie for sure. As for the story, that's sort of where I have a little bit, not really issues with it. I just felt like I didn't feel like the story was necessarily paced the best,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it wasn't like in a way that I thought, man, this like ruins the movie, man, this is like really dragging. But it was like the first 30 minutes or so sets up the world really well, sets up the characters really well, and sort of gives you, I think, a good sort of like introduction to this world, and you get to know this main character, and I think it's a really good setup. A lot of great movies have really good setups, and some movies, aren't as good by the end. Um, but I felt like, in terms of pacing, the first 30 minutes was really great, really gripping, really interesting. This world was really cool. And then as it goes on, I thought the middle was still pretty good, pretty solid. There were a couple scenes that maybe felt like they were dragging on just a little too long, but overall, like, still really gripping. but then the third act for me just felt like just so much just action, constant action, just throwing like a ton at you all at once, and it was still visually very interesting. I just felt like the climax could have gotten done a little faster. It could have, because really it's like that last sort of like key they're getting. It was like
Yeah.
the other two keys. Like I like really the story basically centers
Oh,
around them
I don't
getting
know.
three keys,
But
and
I just want to say, like pretty much to summarize the plot of this movie, it takes place in this not dystopian world, but this very like bland, like just
hmm
not non fun world, and it follows this young man named Wade, and
hmm
Wade plays this thing called the Oasis, and basically what the Oasis is, it's kind of like an escape through VR into another world that the entire real world will play along with. And the creator of the game, I think his name's James Halliday.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
Halliday.
I'm gonna make sure I'm right on that. But yeah, it's this creator named James Halliday. He's a game developer, and he creates this game world called the Oasis. And basically, what it is where people can plug into their own VR headsets and just explore this massive world where there's just they can pretty much do almost anything they want.
hmm
And and when he died, he pretty much gave his inheritance to a player that could find this thing called the egg.
It's
And to get
basically a
the
Willy
egg,
Wonka golden ticket when you really think about it.
basically that's what it is. Yet, like
Yeah,
Wade has to find three keys to unlock the area where the egg is,
it's basically a
and then once
video
he does that,
game
he gets the
plot.
inheritance.
It's like a video game plot, really, when you think about it. It's like
Yeah,
collect these three MacGuffins, and you get to the end, and you get a prize.
yeah. No, it's a very
And
creative movie.
oh yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a great setup, all of it.
Yeah.
The only thing I was saying really about the pacing was I do feel like yeah, the third act, getting that third key is just like the other two are so well paced. Like getting the first keys in the first act, getting the second keys in the second act, both really well
Well,
paced. And then the third act, I just felt like it really dragged a lot. But that's just me, I mean,
here's the thing. Here's where I think it dragged because the whole point of the movie is that well, not the whole point, but the basic plot. You collect three keys to get to the final area. Each of those three keys resembles the act of the movie. So the first key is the
hmm
first act, the second key is the second act, and then you realize, oh, they're doing the same thing over and over again. You could get a little bit tired out by the third act. So I think that's why it got tiresome. It got tiresome for me too.
yeah. And then my only other complaint, really plot wise, was I felt like a lot of the characters were not very well developed, or it wasn't even that they were bad characters at all. Like they were all well cast and were all like I think like had good character. Just it felt like there were sort of maybe some scenes that were missing, or it's like for instance Wade's family, like his aunt that he lives with. Um, that's given like one scene, and then spoiler alert, like the family dies. It's sort of the
That's what made no sense. So like, well, it didn't. That's not that it didn't make sense, but emotionally, it didn't make sense.
yeah, no, it made
So
sense in terms of the
oh,
story, but
spoilers all throughout, by the way. But
mhm.
he I'm not gonna spoil it. He reacts a certain way that you wouldn't react in a situation like that.
With the family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his whole family thing, it sort of, I guess I sort of got the impression that he spends all his time in the Oasis, so he's not really that close with his aunt or whatever. But in a lot of movies, typically they usually sort of flesh out that relationship a little stronger, or maybe establish like what happened to his actual family, like his parents, or it's all it's just kind of brushed over. And I don't know, maybe at this point in time, maybe Spielberg or whoever was editing it was like, oh well, they've seen you know, this cliche a million times. Let's just skip over it and make it go by quickly. But I really think if you had more of that like family aspect to it, especially since one of the main themes sort of the story, I feel like was that Wade sort of becomes family in a way with a lot of these friends he makes over the course of this game. I think establishing maybe a bit more of that connection he had with his own family, or if there was no good connection there, that should have been, I think, explored a little more. And that's why I sort of think that the pacing kind of detracts a little bit from the characters. And then also like the character who's like his best friend. not the girlfriend, but the best friend. I feel like their relationship was a little rushed at first too, because
You mean
uh,
I don't know how to pronounce her name, but Lena Waithe, the black girl.
yeah, well, she was. He thought she was a guy or whatever at first, but then
Yeah,
turns out she's a girl.
which
Spoiler
makes
alert.
is another thing I have with the movie is that like in the game they're like best friends and their
Yeah.
relationship is really great, and their relationship is still really great outside, but there's just not enough of that shown in the movie in the real world.
hmm I
So
did
it's like,
really like them how we got to meet some of these characters in the game first, and then he meets them all in real life later on. I thought that was interesting.
yeah,
I did think it was kind of goofy though, and this was just me. I mean, everybody finds certain things goofy, and other people find it totally fine. But I thought it was really goofy when he meets his girlfriend in real life, and she acts like they're all up until this point. She acts like, oh well, I'm not this beautiful person in real life like I am in the game, and I'm not really beautiful and all this, and it's like sort of setting up that maybe she's unattractive or overweight or something superficial that would make her have a low self-esteem in real life, and therefore in this game it's like her escape where she gets to be beautiful. But then in the movie we get this reveal, and it's like, oh, she's also beautiful in real life, except she's got just like a little bit of a scar on her face, but otherwise she's completely normal looking and
yeah,
very, very pretty. Like it didn't really feel like I felt like they could have done a little more with that in terms of like
and
if she's
maybe
gonna act like
like
she's
that too.
unattractive, then I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe the book's like that too. Like I have obviously I haven't read the book,
Same.
so maybe the book has that in there, and they put it in there because of that reason. But who knows?
Yeah. I don't
And
know.
you're going,
Yeah.
but like I know like we're bashing. It sounds like we're bashing this movie a lot, but like it's actually a
No.
really good movie.
Yeah. I mean, these were just, issues that we had. I mean, that's pretty
Yeah.
typical to talk about. Um,
One of the things I loved about the movie was just like the actual like how much they showed the world off
oh,
and
yeah.
how big the world was based on the framing in the movie. Like because a lot of the frames in the movies is that like for example the car chase scene when they're there, not the car chase scene but the racing scene when they're like in the right hand corner of the camera and they're very small and then the world's just like bigger behind them.
Yeah. I really
Like
felt like, in terms of world building, this this is one of the best like world building like movies I've definitely seen in a long time. Um, I haven't really seen a movie in a while that has really like given like actual time to develop like sort of a setting for a world. I feel like the last movie I really saw that was sort of like that was maybe Avatar, but that was, I mean, like almost 10 years ago. I feel like movies nowadays are, I know that makes me sound like an old person, but I really mean it when I say that a lot of movies now, I feel like there's always this whole like idea of like, let's get straight to the action. No one cares about the background or the backstory or like what this world is. And I don't know, maybe I'm just
and
a super
that's
nerd, but I've always liked world building as long as it's not boring. I mean, as long as they make it
and
interesting, it's
that's
cool
something I think like Spielberg like definitely excels in.
for sure.
He's
He
someone
really
who
knows how to tell
directs
a
a
story
movie and he's a
visually.
great storyteller. He's a great world builder, but the complexity of the story is not going to be complex at all. It's going to be a very basic plot line, very predictable, but the world behind it, the setting behind it, and everything behind it is going to be like great.
Yeah. Well, Spielberg produced Jurassic World, Ivan, so I don't see why you didn't like that movie.
He didn't direct it. He didn't write it.
I know.
It's a big bulk of the
By the way,
movie.
we're gonna talk about Jurassic World 2 when it comes out. You guys
Oh,
be ready.
definitely. I'm not
Be
excited for it, but
ready.
I'm excited for it at the same time.
I'm excited just for seeing it with Ivan. Like this is one of the few movies we're gonna see together before we review it. Like, oh god. Um, okay, so let's see. We got how much time we got left on the timer for Ready
We
Player
got
One?
about almost a minute and a half.
Okay. We haven't really talked much about the acting. What did you think of the performances overall?
In the world, the acting, good thing to bring up. In the world, as the avatars, they're really good. On the outside, real world, eh,
Yeah, it was some of the acting was a little hokey. Like it kind of felt like Power Rangers a little bit.
Yeah,
Like you
that's
remember when we saw Power
what I think
Rangers?
of
It
it
was
more.
sort of that acting a little bit. I don't know.
I mean, the only person I thought was like a really great actor was actress was the black woman in a way.
Yeah. What did you think of the villain in this movie? Like his performance? He was kind of hokey in my opinion.
I liked him in the first half, but didn't. But then it was kind of hokey towards the end.
Yeah, like I felt like he had a decent setup, and he was this businessman, and when they sort of show like how determined he is to get like this egg and this secret, like I thought that was some interesting character development. But as the movie goes on, he gets more and more just comical, and they kind of outsmart him like really way too easily. Like,
I mean, there's a part of the movie where they were like saying how he used to be an intern for the main game developer, and I
hmm
was like, oh, this is gonna get kind of hokey.
yeah, it's
I
sort
definitely haven't seen that before.
yeah, it's sort of the like the guy who was there but wasn't successful and was always jealous, and he's
Hmm.
kind of an idiot. But yeah, I mean, it's like
So,
I,
final
I thought I
rating.
thought the actor was I thought the actor was good. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought he gave a good performance, but in terms of writing, he I feel like probably could have had more to work with personally. What do you think of the guy who played Wade?
He was in a movie I liked called Mud, and he was really
Okay.
great in that movie. But Ty Sheridan's his name.
Yeah.
But he was decent.
Yeah, I thought he was pretty like pretty standard, like not bad,
Yeah.
not great, just he fit the role well. He looked the
Yeah.
part.
Well, we're running out of time.
I felt like
So
his yeah, I'm about to end it. His I felt like his whole like crush on the girl at the beginning was a little weird. Like it was sort of like he was like, "Oh, I'm in love with her" and all this, and it's like it felt like a little kid or like a 10-year-old falling in love with her for the first time or whatever. It didn't feel like he's supposed to be what 18, 17,
a
20 or
teenager at the least.
yeah. I mean, and maybe he just is cast older than he should be, but he looked a little too old to be like having like a schoolyard crush or whatever. Like, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
Mhm.
All right. So, what is your rating? Power rating?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Um, I would say if it was just based on visuals, I'd probably give it like a 9. But mixing visuals and directing and story and writing overall, I would probably give it a 6, but like a high 6, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.
Yeah, I was debating between 6 and 7. I just felt like uh
Because the thing
the
is,
pacing kind of the pacing and some of the weaker acting I felt like kind of just detracted from what could have definitely been like an 8, honestly.
yeah. All right.
But is that
That
all we
was
got to
Ready
say
Player
about
One.
Ready Player One? All right, awesome. You want
On
to
to
get
the
the
next
timer
one.
set up for the next one?
Yes.
All right. So the next movie we're going to talk about is our classic movie, which is called Goodfellas. I think Ivan's already
One of
mentioned
my
that we were going
favorites
to
of all
review it
time.
at least twice.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so this was my first time watching Goodfellas. It's been on my list of movies to watch for a long time, and I'm really glad I finally checked it out. And basically, it's the story of this mob associate called his
Henry
name was
Hill.
Henry Hill. Yeah, yeah. Um, and he was. Let me see. I'm just looking at what time period this is because this is based on a true story. All right, it says from 1955 to 1980. Yeah, basically his life. I mean, his movie starts off, and I would say really, as a movie that's based on a true story, it really sort of tells really this guy's whole life. I
Yeah.
mean, pretty much, at least all the parts of his life that were interesting anyway. Um, so it starts off, he's a teenager. He has an interest in joining the mob. The mob is highly Italian. He's in New York as a kid, and basically, he's Irish. His parents are Irish immigrants, I believe, and he. Sorry, I'm not always best to explain plots, but anyway, he joins the mob, much to the dismay of his family. He ends up being disowned by them, and really, it's just the story of he joins the
It's
mob,
kind of
meets a girl. She
yeah,
she marries him. She then has to deal with all this crap that he gets them into involving the mob. Um, it focuses a lot on see what's his name plays Henry
Ray Liotta.
Ray. Okay, yeah. So he's our lead actor. He does a great job playing that character. And then we got his two, I guess, like sidekicks or best friends in the mob, played by Joe Pesci and Robert De Niro, and they're both amazing too. I mean, they both could definitely win Oscars for this movie. I don't know if they did. I'm have to look at.
I'll look it up right
Yeah, I
now.
was gonna say, will you look up and see if any of the actors in this film got any kind of Oscar nominations or won anything for this? Because the acting in
Um,
this movie is phenomenal. I will just say that right now. Like
Joe
every
Pesci
character
won
is
Best
perfectly
Actor in a
cast.
Supporting Role.
What's that?
Joe Pesci won Best Actor in a Supporting Role.
Yeah, Joe Pesci. This is probably his best
He
role.
was
I mean,
fantastic.
he. So Joe Pesci plays this guy, and he's like just describing this character gets me excited because he's so interesting. But it's like he's this guy who's in the mob. He's like a direct descendant of the mob because he's Italian, and he's there's this scene towards the beginning of the movie. It's maybe 20, 30 minutes in, where Henry is talking to him. And at one point, Joe Pesci's character is making him laugh, and he's telling they're
Keeping him
at a
funny. The
restaurant.
famous like keeping him funny
Yeah,
line.
yeah. This scene really stuck with me. But they're at this restaurant. He's making him laugh with all these people around, and Henry says to him, he's like, "Oh, man, you're funny." And then Joe Pesci. I don't want to spoil it. People should definitely watch this scene on their own.
Yeah. By the way,
But
that whole scene is not in the script. It's all improv.
okay, that's interesting to know. I didn't
Yeah.
know that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I can actually kind of tell now that you mention it because it seems so natural. Uh, but yeah, and this is really the first time you sort of really get to know this character. And I mean, it's just like it starts off so just lighthearted. I mean, even not the movie. The movie is not lighthearted, but just this scene starts off
No.
really lighthearted
It's got a
and
great mix of being lighthearted and then being
great mix of tone for sure.
awkward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, sort of feels like real life in that department. It sort of takes you on a little bit of a roller coaster, but it starts off just kind of light, chill, and then he goes, "You think I'm funny?" And it just, I've never, I don't know if I'd say I'd never, but I very rarely have these experiences watching movies where I'm like sort of laughing, and then the laughter just so you sort of stop laughing for a second, and
Yeah.
you get really nervous, like you start feeling like, oh, is this guy gonna kick his ass? What's gonna happen? Like, is he gonna have a breakdown? Like,
No, like it gets
and,
me on your feet.
yeah, and it sort of, and then it sort of misdirects you a little bit, and it sort of takes you on a little bit of a ride, and then yeah, I don't know, it just that scene is great, and it really did a great job showing us sort of like introducing us to this character and like what he's going to be like the rest of the movie and how he's going to get worse and act even worse than this, and this is just a taste of like what you can expect. And I think in that department, like what I really liked about this movie, and I mean, Martin Scorsese can tell a story so well.
He also
Visually,
directed me really well too. Like
visually, he can tell a great story. I mean, writing wise, getting these performances out of these actors, like it is all. This whole story is, and this is one reason I think it's just a perfect. Well, okay, I'm not gonna say it's a perfect film. I'm just gonna say it has a lot of elements of like a perfect film,
oh yeah.
in my opinion, in that it takes dialogue, it takes cinematography, it takes uh, the charisma between the actors, like the chemistry there. It takes the just every element. I feel like really adds. And what I really like about this movie is that every scene is important, and
Oh yeah.
every scene is building to something else, and everything. There's a lot of characters coming in and out. I mean, but every character matters and has some kind of, even if it's a small impact on the story that comes into play later, like every character like is pretty vital to the story. um and so I think that's just a great way to like have a movie. I don't
Yeah.
like when movies have so much when they've got a lot of filler, when they've got stuff that can be taken out, when they've got characters that go nowhere. I mean, it's just a problem with a lot of movies. And this
No, in
movie,
this movie,
this film
the film
absolutely
had
does not do any of those things wrong. It absolutely like every element is important, and I like that. It always builds to something. Especially when, spoiler alert, Joe Pesci's character dies. It turns out it's a result of something he had done earlier in the movie, and it's like, okay, well, yeah, there's some karma there, but also like that, that scene is important too, and everything kind of comes full circle a little bit, and then I'm not going to really spoil how it ends because I think that everyone should, if you really want to see how it ends, you should just watch the movie. But the ending ties in, and what Henry
it
Hill
makes
eventually
sense
does, what he
happened
eventually
the way it
does.
does.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say what Henry Hill does at the end, that sort of ends the story naturally. Um, it ties in very well with a scene that's set up towards the very beginning of the movie, like in the first 20 minutes, and that's really good theming that it sort of it introduces an element in the beginning and it comes into play at the very end, and it shows that change in his character, that after all the crap, all this crime, all the murders and the deaths and the I guess murder and death is kind of all the fighting. After all this stuff goes on, you can see like he had to make a change because he eventually realized he had to do something different that he wasn't willing to do at the beginning. So I mean, like this movie is really good. That's all I really have to say.
I will say it's my favorite Scorsese movie, and
Yeah.
you pretty much talked about everything that I was gonna talk about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But no, you're fine. I was gonna say that like one of my favorite things like in this movie is just that whole theme of like family and the whole theme of like looking out for each other, even if it's in like represented in like not the best way possible. The theme is still in there. Like even like when they're in like the small things, like you say, like when they're in prison, which isn't a spoiler alert, by the way. Like they're in prison.
They're
It's
in the
very
mob. I
small.
mean, come on.
But like even like the theme of like family when they're like cooking each other's meals and they're doing all that, like it's so small, but like that theme of family is still there, even when they're at their lowest point. It's still always there.
Huge
And the
attention
thing
to
that jumped
detail.
out to what?
I said huge attention to detail for sure.
Oh yeah, and like even the whole thing with like directing and cinematography for Scorsese, who's just like a master of like blending those two like factors of film into it. I,
There's nothing lazy about this movie, and I think that's one of the things I like about it is that I feel like every element of the film was taken care of, and I feel like a lot of times, I mean, yeah, you and I watched a lot of bad movies together, but I feel like because I've seen so many bad movies that when you get a movie like this that isn't lazy and actually takes care of each element of the story
yeah,
and the filmmaking process as a whole, like it's awesome because it's like wow, like you can make a movie where you care about all these different things and you're not neglecting parts of
and the one thing
the
that jumped up
story.
to me, I don't know if like jumped up to you watching it, was when Henry Hill is taking his soon to be girlfriend Karen Hill
Hmm.
into the restaurant, and he goes into the back, and it's just this whole like 3 minute long tracking shot of him going into the kitchen and like him like meeting everyone and like people passing by. That's a lot of elements going into a 3 minute scene, like no cuts, even people walking by, talking to Henry, people talking to each other, blocking. All of that in one scene is just marvelous directing and
Oh
marvelous.
yeah, and it really sets up the environment. It's sort of like we were saying with Ready Player One, with how it really sets up a world is, and I felt like in a way it was kind of. I know they're kind of weird to compare, but I think it's sort of
Yeah.
similar to Ready Player One in that both films do set up a lot at the beginning and have narration from the main character, and the main character basically tells you like how this world works. And yeah, it makes the movie a little longer, but I like movies that will tell you how the world works and show you how the. I mean, not obviously not just tell you, but also show you, because I think what's great about that is it's like once you get all that out of the way, your audience is going to be so much more invested in this
Yeah.
movie that they're watching. Like, I think that's awesome.
So I hate to say this, but what did you not like about it? Because it was, you said it wasn't perfect.
Yeah, there was really one thing I did not care for about this movie, and I'm going to try to explain it the best I can, so that it doesn't sound like I'm making fun of the movie or picking on the movie or nitpicking it. But and it's sort of a personal complaint. It's not like I would say this objectively makes the movie bad. Like, no, I would just
Right.
say this, in my opinion, uh, like I would have done it a little differently maybe. But I sort of felt like uh, the the timeline of events in this movie, the movie, like the structure of the film, very much felt like a timeline. Like this happens at this point in his life, and then this happens at this point in his life, and then this happens at this point in his life,
Mhm.
and it all leads up to something in the end. Yes, but it's not like the scene for me. I didn't really feel like the scenes really transitioned super well sometimes, and they sort of it sort of felt like they like a lot of these events, even though yes they were important later, they didn't really connect into the next event. Like it wasn't like something happens and like a scene happens and then it connects with the next scene, and then it wasn't like it wasn't smooth in that respect. And that's sort of an opinion thing because I think some other people could say like that's not a bad thing, and I'm not saying for everyone it is a bad thing. I just feel like for me it was a little harder to get invested in the story when I'd get really invested in a scene and then it was like, oh, 2 years later or something, and I was
Right.
like, and then it's a completely new thing, and I'm like, oh well, I would have maybe liked to see what happened next in that, like what had happened right after that, like so, because the movie does a lot of skipping around in terms of its chronology and sort of in the timeline. Uh, so that's really my only complaint, just that um, the lack of like always like transitioning, like the lack of sort of transitioning from one scene to the next. I feel like made made parts of the film a little disjointed from my viewing experience. And maybe if I watched it a second time, maybe I wouldn't find it that way. But that was definitely something that didn't take me out of the film, but definitely took me a little bit out of the story and maybe not as invested maybe as I could have been, because I liked all the characters a lot and I liked all the performances a lot. And um, I feel like if the story had or the scenes had been a little smoother transitioning, maybe leading up to something in because it's got a lot of peaks and
Yeah.
valleys in terms of structure. And sometimes that works, but other times you're kind of like, oh well, I want to see it all lead to something right away. But I mean, you know like I said,
It's just
I'm
one
not, I'm not, I'm
personal.
not yeah, yeah, I was gonna say I'm not gonna try to like downplay my own personal thoughts on it, but I'm not holding it against the movie either. um I just think for me personally, that made me less invested in the characters than I probably would have been had it been a little smoother. That's just me though.
All right.
Do you have any problems with the movie?
I do not. None.
Then what would you rate it?
A 10 out of
A
10.
10. 10 out of 10.
I love Goodfellas so much. Like it's my favorite gangster movie. Well, probably I don't know. It's hard. It's like Godfather or Goodfellas, but I like them on different. I like them both on like different for different reasons.
Yeah. I would give the movie a 9 because I feel like in terms of as
Yeah.
a film, man, it delivers in everything.
Yeah.
That, couldn't be a 10 for me because of, like I said, I wasn't always 100% invested because of just how it was
Yeah,
structured.
like I want to buy it on DVD real bad.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's I mean it's on Netflix right now and that's how I watched it, but it's one I would definitely watch again at some point,
Yeah.
because I would love to once you've seen a movie again, or once you've seen a movie for the first time and you're sort of done with first impressions, then you can sort of study it a little more and maybe look more into those details like you mentioned. So
Yeah.
so great movie, really great movie. I'm really glad I watched it, and I'm really looking forward
Awesome.
to us having
Thumbs up.
this classics segment on the show, because for me, like seeing some of these classic movies I haven't yet seen, like it's a real treat, and everyone should watch
Yeah.
some of these movies like Goodfellas that are just like
Yeah. You're
movies,
welcome.
movies, movies that anyone who likes film should watch them.
Yeah.
IMHO. So
Now, if
how
you
are we on our timer, by the way, Ivan? Do we have any time?
33 minutes.
3 minutes. Okay. Is there anything left we have to talk about in terms of Goodfellas? Because I want to give each movie their 15 minutes if need be.
I think we're good.
All right. So we'll cut this one a little short since, I mean, it's a great movie. There's not a lot, a lot left to say other than what we've
Yeah.
said. Um, all right, Ivan. Well, I'll let you introduce our garbage movie then.
All right. So
You can reset the timer too, since we're gonna.
we've
This one we'll probably talk for at least 15 minutes about.
okay. So we've had a really good movie, pretty good movie, which is Ready Player One.
Hmm.
We've had a classic, awesome, and amazing movie. Goodfellas.
Both films have really good directors too, really famous directors.
Really famous director too. Yeah, Spielberg, Ready Player One, Scorsese, Goodfellas. Now we have the classic and legendary and amazing auteur Robert Vince with Monkey Up. Boom, 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 boom.
Monkey Up.
Monkey Up. All right,
So
so
this was a movie Ivan and I found on Netflix one day.
that's how it starts off. It's just a movie we found on Netflix. No big deal.
I mean, I was just at your dorm and we were chilling. And how did you even find this movie? Like what were you even looking up, Ivan? You're
I
the one
was
that found this one.
really random, like bad kids movies, and I was like, okay, let's see what I want. I see this one called Monkey Up, and I think the image is just like a monkey in a like daredevil suit jumping out of a helicopter. And I was like, okay, you're watching this right now. This
Oh
is
my god.
hilarious.
Well, and you showed me just the title and like I mean just like the picture on
Yeah.
Netflix, like the and I like the little thumbnail, and I was like, yep, we're well, and then you were like, that looks funny, and then you were going down to the next one, and I'm like, Ivan, stop, we found our movie for the night. I was like, we are watching this one, like, no questions asked. So since you are the one who discovered Monkey Up,
I have to, yeah.
why don't you introduce it and tell us a little bit about the story?
So, what an honor.
Yeah, what an honor.
So Monkey Up is the story of a monkey named Monty, who's a TV action movie star, monkey actor, monkey would be the best way to describe it. And
Monkey Daredevil. Well, he's not really a daredevil. He does fake stunts, but he's
he
in a
does fake
commercial.
stunts. He's never jumped off a
And
building.
Monkey Up is an energy drink, though. Like that's the brand. It's an energy drink, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's about a monkey, but they don't never talk about the energy drink. But even though this is the title of the movie, but basically it's about a monkey, and he's an actor monkey, and he goes to his family, and he just wants to learn more about human life, and so he goes to the family. But the thing is, his owners don't know he's with the family, so it's just this wild goose chase to get the monkey back.
I
Captain
feel
Mac.
you mean a wild monkey chase.
It's a wild monkey chase.
I'm trying to think though. Isn't there like a Disney movie that this plot is almost like like verbatim, like the exact same plot? Like, isn't there a Disney movie or a Pixar movie or I mean, it's not Air Bud. I mean, even though it's made by the same production company, but
The Airbud Frankenstein.
I feel like there is a movie, maybe from like the 80s or the 90s, that like this plot is
Who
like that
knows?
exact movie. And maybe it's because I've seen this type of movie as a kid like a million times. Maybe that's why it seems so familiar. But this whole like, oh, there's a famous animal or famous thing. Maybe like Stuart Little a little bit. I don't know, but it's
You know
like
what?
there's this famous
No,
animal, and
you
then
know
the
what?
animal goes lives with the family, decides I don't want to live this like this life of glamour. I want to have a family instead. Family's the most important thing. Like I don't know.
You know
What?
the plot of. You know what? I just figured it out. It's
What?
Airbud.
Yeah, I guess it is, but
You know,
it's the same company as
no one
Airbud.
knows what the original plot of Airbud is. Airbud, like the dog, Bud, is a circus dog and with a clown as the owner. And he's dressed up
Yeah,
in a clown uniform. He escapes a party and then winds up with this other family. And the clown's trying to get him back. It's the exact same plot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
almost the exact same.
Except the
But
dog
the thing
plays
I want to get into
basketball
is
or
like pretty
something.
much like talking about scenes from the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
There's really no like good way to talk about this movie if we don't talk about like specific scenes we watched.
Definitely. And anyone who wants to just like laugh really hard at a really bad
Watch
movie,
Monkey Up. It's free on
go on
Netflix.
Netflix. I mean, look at Monkey Up. There you go.
It's separate words, so it's Monkey Space Up.
And it's really recent too. Like it wasn't like this is a cheesy like 90s thing. Like
No, it was made like in the late
this
20
is
like
2016, I think. 2016, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you thought those really cheesy, bad, like direct to DVD or direct to Netflix like type movies. You thought those was like stopped in the early 2000s or what? No, they're They're
No,
still going.
they're still rolling
They're
along.
still going, and they're just as bad, like
They're
equally
still
as bad.
monkeying up. They are
They're
still monkeying up.
they're just shot in HD now. That's the only difference. Like they're just as bad.
No, like one
One
of my
thing we
favorite
need to talk
things.
about first, though, too, is the monkey who is the actor or the monkey actor.
They got abused.
We don't know that for sure, but like that monkey shouldn't. I mean, some of the scenes I'm kind of like, man, should like a monkey really be doing this? Like, shouldn't they? Maybe they should have gotten a CGI monkey or something. I don't know. Like,
Like the scene where he's like, and when I say the scenes, it's gonna sound really weird, but it's in the movie where he's like he's going out for a tan in like his dollhouse, and instead of like having the green like candy cream on his face, I'm sure someone in production just like smeared guacamole all over his face and just rubbed it all in like this. Like, oh, you like
it
that?
did look
You
like
like that?
guacamole.
You like that? All over his face.
Yeah, and I mean, like the effects they use to make this monkey talk are really hilariously bad. Like, it's like they CGI'd his mouth to where they like make his like lips go on down like this. So it's like, "Hi, Monty," and he's like, "Hey, Graves, what's up?" And it's
And
like
then he's edited
it's like this weird
really fast.
human mouth
People
on like
like
a
that.
monkey's face. Like it's weird. Like when Ivan and I started watching it, I remember thinking to myself, I'm like, is this actually just a commercial? Because like I could only picture a commercial using effects this bad and an idea this stupid. Like
But
I'm
no,
like,
it's
this can't be a
like
movie.
an hour and a half long movie.
It was an hour and a half long movie. So let's talk about some of those other characters. We already talked about Monty. Let's talk about all those other great memorable characters, Ivan.
No one cares about them. It's just about the monkey.
I mean, I felt like they all had their own little thing to make fun of, though. I mean, okay, like you got the little girl. Like it's so easy to make fun of her because her acting is so
Oh
awful.
yeah.
Like she's so awful. Like one of the worst child actors I've ever seen. And to the girl, no offense. I mean, you're in Monkey Up. You don't need to try. Like, but this little girl, she's like, Monty, I love you. Ah! Like it's like she acts like how like an adult would impersonate a child whining. And then you got the son. Ivan, tell us about the son, the little boy. Tell us a little bit about.
The son always looks scared in the face over every situation.
Like it's as though the like director was blackmailing him like into doing the movie or something.
He's like, "You finish the movie, your parents will be free."
Like this little boy looks terrified in every scene though. Like he's like, oh. Like even scenes he should be like happy. He like looks afraid. Honestly.
It really is like that. And also, so the dad is one of the stupidest like dads in a movie I've ever seen.
The dad literally sees the monkey and just thinks he's seeing something, but it's not like he sees the monkey out of the corner of his eye or something like they do more cleverly in other movies.
Yeah,
This is he actually sees the monkey. He sees the monkey.
So the dad's a writer, and whenever the dad like falls asleep and he wakes up to something he hasn't written, and he knows he hasn't written it because he was asleep, he thinks he wrote it, but it was really just a monkey going on there and typing something up.
Yeah, the monkey writes his book for him. It's pretty amazing.
And he thinks he did it the entire time.
And then Ivan, there's the mom character. Do we want to talk about the scene involving her?
Yes.
So this scene really doesn't belong in a kids movie.
It really doesn't.
Whoever wrote this or directed this, like you're just trying to get some kind of weird fantasy out of your head. And maybe you should direct porn. I don't know. Maybe this isn't for you, man. Maybe kids movies just aren't for you.
There's a movie where the mother's just like taking a bath, and it's not like she's just like taking a bath and like bam, bath. It's like a step-by-step process. So like
it's not like you just see her head sticking out of the tub. It's like you're very much like close to that bath.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the process of getting into the bath because you see her in her robe and you see like a shot of her feet as she drops the robe and you see like her legs get into the bath and then you see her in the bath with the bubbles covering her up. And then all of a sudden you see like Monty the monkey go into the bath with her.
Like imagine that you're maybe the cinematographer for this movie. If they used a camera for this movie, maybe they used a potato or something. I don't know, but
well, it's an HD, so they did not use a potato.
It's an HD potato. But anyway, imagine you're the person filming this. Imagine in your head you are filming a shot right now because Ivan, you and I both know we've been on some shoots before.
Yeah.
You like every shot, takes a little bit of time. It's gonna take some time, Like it is something it's not like it's not like oh next shot's done. You got to set up the shot and you got to film it and you take multiple takes and it can take a long time. So imagine you're the cinematographer for this movie and you were filming a shot of a grown woman's like legs from like and a robe falling to the floor.
I don't
And
want
this
to
is
repeat that
and
song
this
as
is
well.
okay.
I don't
Imagine you're filming this and you're saying to
feel like
yourself, imagine you're saying to yourself,
kids that
yeah,
come
this
back
is
to
this
all
is for a
this.
kids movie. This is for children. Like, I don't know. It struck me as I was like, I mean, there's nothing sexual about it. There's nothing like overtly nude about it or anything. But it was
No,
just
it's
like
just
it was
weird.
so unnecessary, and it's like this is for kids. Like you can't. It's not like even one of those kids movies that like has jokes for adults so that adults can enjoy it. It's like no, this is straight up for children.
This is like prolonged.
Like nothing else in this movie was made for adults. Like the rest of the movie was straight up like G-rated, like lowbrow, like really dumb humor. So
Can we talk
nothing,
about
none
the
of this
scene?
is for adults. None of this is for adults except for this one weird scene that's kind of uncomfortable.
Could we talk about the scene where two scenes where Monty's at the winter ball and he gets on the car.
How many
He's
times did you and I watch that scene? I feel like we watched it
It was
probably 10
amazing.
times.
He just like goes at he just like crashes through this like giant like mountain of presents and it just explodes.
It's also a Christmas movie, but they really barely even mention Christmas. Like
Yeah. And then another scene towards the final scene of the movie is amazing, by the way.
with the
Do you want to
like
talk about that one or do you want me
parachuting thing, like
to? Yeah.
okay, so the setup for this is there's a villain, and he is the complete stereotypical fat guy villain that we've seen in every kids movie ever made. And even as stereotypical as he is, he's even more stereotypical than you're thinking right now in your mind. Like you have a certain vision right now of this character in your mind. He's even more
Yeah.
stereotypical than that. So he's this villain is chasing the kids and Monty because he owns the monkey or whatever. Um, so he's chasing them through like an abandoned factory or something. It's very random. The movie is already very cartoonish, but it becomes full on cartoon at this point.
And by
Like
the
there's
way, I do want to say that
cartoon
the young
goo.
guy, the young kid still looks scared
Yeah,
the
I mean
entire time.
I think the kids should look scared in this scene, obviously, because
He looks scared going to
a
bed.
creepy fat guy with a mustache is chasing you, trying to steal your monkey. So, um,
Steal
anyway,
your monkey. Only in
I mean,
monkey.
doesn't he threaten to kill them too? Like, it's like gets kind of dark for no reason. Like,
Well, they
I
changed
don't
that
even think
from
anything in
Kansas
Airbud ever got
back to
that dark or weird or anything. Um, but yeah, so he's chasing him through his factory. Somehow they end up on the top of the roof of like the studio where they filmed the Monkey Up commercials or whatever. So it's like there's this weird like factory with goo and stuff like in the middle of a
I
studio. I
didn't
don't know.
notice that.
Yeah, like they get some like goo, like green goo or
That
something,
really is
like
weird.
gets hit that goes on the villain because in kids movies you have to humiliate the villain in the most like random ways possible. You gotta like throw goo at them and like every villain like they rip their pants, you see their underwear. Like it's a kids movie thing. But like anyway, he goes through all this physical pain. He chases them onto the roof, and Ivan, explain the climax because we're not gonna. Who gives a crap about spoilers of this movie?
So
Tell us the climax.
the girl stupidly trips over herself and falls off the roof. And then Monty, and throughout the entire movie, Monty the monkey is afraid of like heights and like
Yeah.
jumping over things. But he's like, you know what? I'm gonna jump off of this. And the cinematic and visuals for when he jumps off is breathtakingly awful but amazing at the same time. And this little puny monkey manages to catch this girl in his arms and float safely down with a parachute.
And then what makes it even better is the brother who was also on the roof magically is down right
He's just
next
down
to
there
her
too.
2 seconds later. Like no continuity was even paid attention to it, even in the slightest. Like it's
You know what
amazing.
would be great is that if the movie just ended, it was here's what I would do. Monty would save the girl, but then the brother trips down too, but Monty doesn't save him, so he falls down, breaks his neck, dies, and they just have a funeral for him.
And then the
And Monty
villain allows them to keep the monkey because he feels bad about the brother dying.
There we go. And then Monty's giving the eulogy, saying, Little Timmy always looks scared, but he had a
Also,
big
the,
heart.
the voice of this monkey, like the guy who voices the monkey, like gives no shits at all.
He doesn't.
Like it's hilarious. Like what even is the voice he uses? It's almost sounds like a I can't even describe like he sounds way too old to be like playing a like childlike character. He sounds sort of like the guy who plays Cool Cat, honestly.
That's another legendary movie.
Yeah, we might have to put that in our garbage category in
We
one of these
will.
episodes.
So, what would you rate Monkey Up?
Well, are we gonna rate these bad movies on a good scale or a bad scale? Because obviously the other two movies get rated on a good scale, I suppose. Maybe I'll rate it on both. So on a scale of 1 to 10, and in terms of legitimate movies, like a scale that I would rate Goodfellas and Ready Player One on, Monkey Up probably gets a 1, honestly,
It
because
gets a one. Yeah, it gets a one from me.
it
But
does nothing good, like
it
that
doesn't.
in an artistic way.
But
On the bad
on
scale,
a bad scale,
I would give the movie a 9.
yeah, I would give it that too.
Because it's not like The Room that's like a 10, but like it's a 9 for
It's a
sure.
nine. Yeah, it's for sure a nine.
And it's an entertaining movie. It's short. It's pretty entertaining. Like it's not like some of the other Airbud ripoffs we tried watching that were really boring. Like this one was entertaining from beginning till end.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Anything else you guys say about? Oh wait, what's your? Oh, you gave the same score I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Well then, we can go into our Q&A right now. If anybody left any questions, let me see. Okay. So nobody left any comments on the video. Let me check Facebook maybe. It's also kind of late, so people don't necessarily get on late.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't see any. Ivan, were there any comments
None.
on what you posted?
None.
Well, I guess we're just losers then. So we're gonna do our first Q&A. I'm gonna ask you some questions, Ivan. You're gonna ask me some questions. Put another 15 minutes on the
Okay.
clock, and we're gonna go for it. And then we're gonna be
All
done with
right.
the episode. All right. I'm gonna ask Ivan a question. Let me think of a good one.
Yes.
So, Ivan, what film are you looking forward to most in 2018? And you can take a second to think about it if you need.
I don't know if it's gonna be released this year, but it's a Lars von Trier film called The House That Jack Built.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't know, but I'm not sure if it's coming out in 2018 or not. I know there's a poster made for it, but let me see. The House That Jack Built. Jack Built. It says 2018 according to IMDb. It's going to
Okay.
premiere at the Cannes Film Festival in 2018. But I don't know about a release here yet. But that's a movie I'm looking forward to. I like Lars von
2018.
Trier.
Nice. All right. Ask me a question now.
All right. What movie are you looking forward to in 2018?
Jurassic World 2. Just for
Oh
you.
yeah.
In terms of like actual good movies, though, let me look at a list of what's coming out in
Yeah, let's
2018.
do that.
Let's see. Upcoming movies 2018. Because I honestly haven't really even thought about it much. I'm looking forward to Avengers Infinity War, but I mean, who knows if it'll be good or not. Let me see. Deadpool 2. Incredibles 2 is definitely one I'm looking forward to. Yeah, right now, honestly, I'm gonna probably say Incredibles 2. I know it's not as artsy as the movie you picked, but in terms of 2018, I'll be honest, there aren't a ton of movies I'm really looking forward to that much. I might have to actually come visit you sometime, and maybe we'll see some of the more art house independent films, because in terms of like major big blockbusters coming out, there's like nothing I'm looking forward to. It's all very saturated and kind of boring for me at this
Yeah,
point. But Incredibles 2 might be really good.
yeah, maybe we'll
The
see.
trailer really hasn't given us much to work with yet. People are already complaining, saying, "Oh, it looks like the same plot as the first one," and it's like, well, let's just see what happens. You really can't judge a movie on its trailer. Like that's a pretty big thing
No,
nowadays.
right.
Okay, looks like we did get a question on the stream. All right, from Turbo Virgin.
Okay.
Okay, he said, "What do you think about Jim Carrey's return to acting after 4 years of being a painter, and what do you think of it being a serious role and not a comedy?"
Do you want me to answer this one?
Yeah, you go for it.
So I have no problems with it. I think Jim Carrey is a very vastly talented person, both in like comedy and acting.
I agree.
And I think the thing is like that. And I don't know this for sure, but I think Jim Carrey is like one of those people who is kind of like tired of the whole like Ace Ventura Dumb and Dumber like role, pretty
Yeah, because
much.
he's an intelligent guy.
Yeah. And like if you haven't seen like the not the newest Dumb and Dumber, but the most recent Dumb and Dumber, Dumb and
Oh my
Dumber Two,
god, I
like
did not go see that. That looked horrible.
he didn't. Like I saw part of it, and he looked like he didn't care. Like there's actually a joke in the movie of him saying, "Well, if you were just like hatching 20 something out the box 20 years later, and here it is." Like
Yeah,
he did it for.
I just when I saw the trailer for that movie, I was like, I'm not gonna see that.
And like, the thing is, like, even if you didn't want to go see it, you can't deny that he's not a talented person. Like he's a very talented person. Like
Yeah,
my
I'm sure
favorite
he
movie.
just made a lot of money making that movie. I mean,
What?
I said I'm sure he just made a lot of money making that movie, but
Oh, sure,
obviously
for sure.
his talents
I
are
think
way above that.
in as regards to a serious role, like coming and like, 'cause I know that he was in a movie or a trailer for a movie this year where he was in a serious role. Let's see if I can search his name and pull it up. But regarding a serious role, I think my favorite movie that he was in doing that was Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Mine. I was gonna bring that one up too. That is the go-to movie to look at if you're looking for a serious Jim Carrey movie.
Oh, for sure.
Just that's his best performance in my opinion. Period.
Yeah. If you haven't seen whoever this is, who asked the question?
His name is Turbo Virgin.
Okay.
Okay, we got another question.
Let me
All right.
I'll answer the next question. Just let me just answer this guy real fast.
All right.
If you haven't seen Jim and Andy, I would see that movie just to get a better example of what Jim Carrey thinks of his acting back then and how he portrays it now. Because it's a recent interview from a movie that he made about a movie he made in the late '90s. So I recommend that. All right, next question. Thank you for the thanks for the question, by the way, Turbo.
Yeah, and Turbo Virgin also said that the number 23 was good too.
Okay, I'll see more into it. Thank you.
Yeah, same. Okay, and we got a question from the Ray Wood, and he said, "Do you think Daniel Day-Lewis is genuinely retired after seeing Phantom Thread? I hope he does one more movie."
I don't know. He said he would retire, but that never happened. I don't know. It depends.
I kind of doubt he'll permanently retire. Sounds.
I would give it a good like 5 or 6 years before I make an opinion about that. If after Phantom Thread, if he doesn't act for another 5 or 6 years, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, he's retired.
I mean, you can always come out of retirement. You know,
yeah, that's what
retiring doesn't necessarily mean he's done. It just means like he's done for now. So
yeah.
All right. I'm glad we got a couple questions then.
Yeah.
I think. How much time is left on the timer, Ivan? Because
we got 8 minutes.
I was gonna say we've already gone over the full hour, so I think unless anybody has any other questions, just send it to us in like the next 30 seconds, or I think we'll end it.
Yeah. might die.
Any further question or not questions? Any further thoughts, Ivan, on any of the 3 movies we talked about tonight?
I'm all good.
Yeah, me too. I think every movie we watched was pretty straightforward. I mean, Ready Player One, I guess, was the most sort of mixed. I felt like, but even then, we could pretty much agree
It
on
wasn't
most
really
of
that
the things.
mixed.
I mean, I just mean mixed in that we had positive and negative things to say about it.
Yeah,
But I mean, we only had positive things to say about Monkey Up, so
of course.
yeah. I mean,
Absolutely.
I regard it as a great movie. All right, we're gonna take the last question right here. We got another question from the Ray Wood.
Okay, let me plug my computer in then real fast.
Yeah, we got this last question. And we're not gonna take any more after this. We'll do more questions our next stream. But he's asking most underrated movie. And I guess that's one that I think you and I could both answer separate answers for.
Most underrated movie. That's hard. I can look at my DVD collection real fast and see if I can pick one out there. But do you have an underrated one? Excuse me, underrated one?
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking of one, but let me look up. So let me see how well it did, because if it did better than I thought it did, then it wouldn't really be underrated.
Oh, I got one.
Okay.
Prisoners.
What film?
Prisoners. It's a very underrated movie.
Okay.
It made a really good, decent box office. It was really great at the box office, I'll say that. Not like great, but like it was good enough for what it did, but like not many people saw it. But I know a lot of people talked about it.
Okay.
It's directed by Denis Villeneuve, the same director as Blade Runner, 2049, and
Nice.
Arrival. This was his movie before all of that. So I was on top of all of that before anyone else was.
Look at you, Ivan.
It's true. Yeah, that's a really underrated movie. I would also say another really underrated movie is called Brick.
Yeah, you're right. Isn't
Um,
that who directed that?
huh?
Who directed Brick?
I forget his
Here,
name.
I got the internet. I got the internet.
I know the main lead is Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, it was Ryan Johnson.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's what okay. Yeah, I was thinking. I was like, that's the movie Ryan Johnson directed, but I wanted to make sure before I spread false information. For my underrated movie, I would say, and I don't even know if you necessarily say this is underrated because it did pretty well at the box office, but it got really mixed reviews, and it was a movie I liked. It was called The Bucket List. Have you seen it, Ivan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's a movie that people don't ever really talk about, but I thought both the performances of Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman were both like really good performances, like in their career, and I just felt like the movie never really got talked about that much.
I remember when it came out, but I was like in 6th grade. But it was that was a long time ago.
Yeah, I saw it around that time too, and I really liked it. And maybe if I went back and watched it, maybe I'd understand, why it got more mixed reviews. But I always really liked it and thought the performances in it were very good. I do want to check out Brick. I think that movie sounds pretty good. So let me just check the stream real quick. And then, oh yeah, he said he agreed with you. He said Jake Gyllenhaal is so good.
He was great. He was fantastic in that movie. Even I thought Hugh Jackman should have gotten like an Oscar nom or maybe even an Oscar for that movie, but I don't know. I don't deal with the Academy.
Yeah, hopefully you'll never have to. All right, on that note, my name is Jackson Witzel.
And I'm Ivan Lichtenstein.
And you've been watching The Film Pod.
Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, guys, we will be back in May with 2 new episodes. We'll be talking with our new guest star, who's yet to be determined. And then we'll do another episode like this where we talk about 3 movies. So, see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.
Bye bye.